will now be recorded.
Thank you all. Next time, stop me before I start talking. So, I don't know. You gotta call me out on
What do we
something.
miss? Roll call. Everybody's here.
That's right. We're
Pledge
all
of
here.
allegiance.
So, and item number 1 and 2 on the planning mayor's report. So, number 3, periodic update grant. So the city is receiving $100,000 from the state for the state mandated growth management act planning, which is great. They're going to require us to do all these updates, and they're going to pay for it. So
Nice.
that's the way it should be, right? Half of that will become available to us in June, and the other half of it June the following year. Obviously, that's all paperwork related stuff. And our planners are going to be able to be fully paid to do all kinds of updates. So that is all great news. So the planning committee is going to be very busy. I believe they had an update from the planners at their last meeting about a lot of that work. F Street rededication update. We're creating a plan of action right now. First thing will be to let all the residents know officially that it's something we're looking into, and also just to get a feel for affirmative or negative on it. I think we had a majority of folks here the other night, and from what they said, the ones that were not here are in favor as well. But we just want to make sure that there are no roadblocks to that. Last thing we want to do is get into this and then find out someone doesn't want to do it, and then where will we be? So, Jason.
Heather, the lady that lives at the corner with the gate.
Yes.
She has paved the road and
Yes.
says the road is her property. She said she's not giving it up without a fight. She pays taxes on it.
Was she not here?
I asked
She
her
was
to be,
here.
I mean, I thought she was gonna be here tonight.
She was here a month ago and was in support of it.
Yeah.
But she also mentioned that she would
She's
like to be
She wants to be
compensated.
compensated for it. I don't know that she's against it, but she thinks the only reason that we wanna take it back is so that we can open the road up and then tow somebody's car that always parks there.
Wow, she was at
Yeah.
the meeting.
That's what I got from her.
Yes, she did. She did mention possible compensation for that. You know, the question is, how much would it be worth to the city, right? Is it up to city road standards, or is it just in our way, right? If we were actually to go through and pave it at some point, would we be able to utilize that, or would we have to tear it up? You know, I don't know. But each property owner will be contacted, and then some type of individual agreement with each one will need to be made, because each one will need to basically sign over part of their property to the city, that 20 feet. And so there'll be agreements with everybody. So we'll be very open and transparent when it does happen.
And what if somebody doesn't want to do it?
Well, that would be a discussion for council, what we want to do. You know, if there was one holdout, there's a variety of pathways that a city could take. It could be a form of compensation. There's a lot of different ways. Nothing's set in stone though. We're still in the planning and communication process. U.S. Cellular lease contract update. So I've mentioned U.S. Cellular many times in Mayor's update. And so U.S. Cellular last year had reached out to the city. As you know, we have a lease with U.S. Cellular. They have a tower at the water plant. They pay us about $8,000 a year to lease that 5,000 square foot piece of property, which is a pretty good deal. So they reached out to the city to renegotiate that term for another 41 years. And of course, we had our all-star attorney look at it and looked at what they're paying us versus what other cities, municipalities get for these cell towers. Luckily, our attorney's firm negotiates these for a variety of cities, and they had a whole table with all the other cities and what they get per square foot for leasing it out, and we're at like a quarter of what other cities make for a similar property. And so U.S. Cellular doesn't really want to pay more than what they're already paying, and they're also not really interested in negotiating a yearly increase. So, you know, maybe consumer price index, 2% a year or something like that. And so they're trying to have their cake and eat it too and have another 41 years of lease. So we're still working on that, trying to get something that's fair for Vader, but also keeps US Cellular in the neighborhood. That said, our attorney thinks that that is such a prime location that if US Cellular were to leave, there's plenty of other people that would love to be right there. So they're not exactly looking to leave. So that's just why that's taking so long. It's all about the money. And eventually that contract will come to council to review. Annan Road ownership update. So at the end of February, we received a letter from the county regarding Annan Road. If you remember last year, we had public records requests to understand the ownership of that, and it was determined that in 1954 the county had propositioned BNSF to get an easement to create Annan Road and maintain it. And because of that agreement, we were able to proposition the county and go 50-50 on the cost to improve Annan Road there at the highway, which was all great. So the county just sent us a letter saying that they wanted to dissolve that easement. It didn't really explain what that meant, right? Because if they just dissolve the easement, who owns it at that point? Vader does not have agreement with BNSF. So does no government entity have any type of easement with that? And so we're reaching out to, I've reached out to the county commissioner, Mr. Brummer, about that. Also the railroad about maybe transferring the easement into Vader's name. As you know, with the variety of permits that we had to get, easements we had to get from BNSF with the the sewer treatment facility, it cost thousands of dollars for those agreements. BNSF, has their own private insurance that they require municipalities to get to buy. And so it'd be great if we could just keep that 1954 agreement in place and not have to renegotiate one that's 70 years more current. So we're working on that. Any council reports?
Does the county want to step away from maintaining? Is that what's not?
They did not specify. I would imagine that's what they want to do. They want to try to minimize their maintenance costs, and because
they've done so much of it this last
Right.
last few years.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
the bridge.
I would
I think
imagine.
it's just the bridge that they look at, because that's the only maintenance.
Yeah, it's actually kind of weird. If you look at the map, the right of way, obviously it follows the railroad tracks all the way up. If you look at Annan Road, so if you follow Annan Road all the way up, and then it has the hard bend to the left. If you go from the bend back towards the south of the city, that 600 feet, that last 600 feet is not in the city limits. Our city limits kind of do this weird jag up there. And so by abandoning the easement agreement, even part of their road that's outside of the city limits is no longer has an agreement. So yeah, and so it doesn't really make sense. It didn't have any of the county commissioners on the letter. It was just the public works manager. And so I'm wondering if maybe it didn't go through all the official channels to be thought about. But anyway, to answer your question, I believe it's all about money. It's about not having to spend their money on it. So we'll see. I'm asking our commissioner to look into it so that he can fully understand it, and maybe he'll have some words. We'll find out what Scott says. Council reports. Agenda approval. I don't have any changes to the agenda.
Make a motion that we accept the city council meeting agenda for 3/9/2023.
We have a motion by Mr. Daly to approve the agenda as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. McIntosh. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Guess I don't have to pause as long because everyone's here. Mike's not trying to second guess me
Yeah,
on the
Mike can
phone.
say, yay, at like beginning of the
Yeah.
semester.
Minutes approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for February 23rd, 2023.
We have a motion by Mr. Parsons to approve the minutes for February 23rd. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ferguson.
What's my name?
That's my name.
Have to breathe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to point out in the minutes that Lisa had some suggestions on the formatting. Did everyone find the formatting of the minutes pleasing?
It's different?
Should I set it before you?
Title bar up here.
I don't see anything different on it.
Well, that's great then.
Oh, but this is the one I got today. This is the one
The
I
minutes.
printed off.
The minutes is.
Oh, the minutes is. Never mind.
Looks like the one that I was emailed.
Well, not that it's just that from past meetings, just the way that she's formatting and she gets some good suggestions. You've all find the minutes to be, the formatting to be correct. We'll continue to do it that way. Or pleasing, correct? Acceptable?
I have no objection.
Okay. See, I told you, they would all love it. Voucher approval.
Motion that we approve the vouchers for the 1st of March, 2023 in the amount of $61,398.90. Amended the 1st of February, 2023, $52,937.07.
We have a motion by Mr.
9
Clerk.
cents, excuse me.
9 cents.
Yeah, $52,937.09.
We have a motion by Mr. Ferguson to approve the vouchers as stated. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hall. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Special reports, Lewis County Sheriff's Department. Hello, Mr. Fraze.
For the month of February, during the month of February, there was a total of 339 citizen contacts, 14 calls for service, 2 of which were when a deputy was dedicated and working within the city limits of Vader. There were 29 traffic stops resulting in 6 infractions and 1 criminal citation. No physical arrest, although there was a referral for a weapons charge.
All here in the city limits?
Yeah.
Wow.
We keep them busy.
Hey, have you heard of any like gunfire in the city limits of Vader? I hear gunfire in the city limits of Vader so often.
I have not heard of any of that. I've
Border of town and
I've heard of stuff down in, didn't mean to interrupt you there, sorry. Stuff down the hill, outside the city. And then we used to have quite a bit just west of town, but
maybe I'm hearing something coming up the creek, but it really sounds like it's
okay.
over here.
And I'm not saying, I'm not aware of any. That's all I can comment on, so. Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
If you do hear it, give them a call and so they can come investigate it.
Yeah. At least make a report of this.
Exactly.
Don't be shy to call 911. I hear that the non-emergency number
I mean,
forwards to the same people that are answering the 911 number.
It's the
so-
same group. They know which line is which, so they answer the
I
911.
don't hear any screaming or anything afterwards, so it's.
Well, if it's a good shot, you won't.
It's rural country.
Yeah, this is when I said it on the first, I believe it was. So you got this thing as well as all the data sheets.
There's
So
some.
this is the
other
Excel
place that
spreadsheet,
really
and then
echoes.
everything else is a PDF, and this is an Excel spreadsheet.
I have to go back and check it.
Sixth Street is kind of.
I don't think that I've seen it, but I'll go back and check.
Okay, if you don't, just shoot me an email, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Or I'll make sure I send it to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, suppressors.
That was on 6th Street.
Yeah, I guess. Seemed like
Okay,
it's
oil
real
filters.
back there. I'm kind of worried.
All right, well, then moving on to item number 1, council to consider resolution 06/2023 property purchase. So, council already approved that we move forward on this, but the attorney recommended that we had an official resolution. So there's a paper document for it. It authorizes the continuation of the property purchase, as well as authorizing the mayor to get any surveys or environmental assessments going that need to happen, and that I can sign the closing documents.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolutions 06/2023 for the property purchase.
We have a motion by Mr. Daly to approve resolution 06/2023. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. Any other
Say Mike.
For the record, I want to make sure it's, for the folks at home, make sure it's a proper record. Discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna make that Jim sure everybody knows that I don't like this. You said all the council, no, I'm not.
Noted.
All the council is not approving.
We'll have your official voice heard in just a moment then.
All right.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Your voice was heard.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 2, council to consider Rogland's application for payment number 20 for $26,439.99. So as you can see, this project is wrapping up. In your packet, there's a detailed list of all the different payments I've made over the course of the time, as well as the total remaining in the contract, which is $21,000 is all that's left to be paid.
And that's after this payment?
That's correct. Yeah, that change order is in, if you look on that form on the far left, there's a table with all the change orders. Number 9 is on that. So it's already listed. So we're still doing great, so grant funding, we're going to complete the project without running out of funding. So it's all good news.
I make a motion that we pay the payment number 20 to Rogland.
For motion by Mr. Parsons to approve payment number 20, do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ferguson. More discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, council to consider Rogland's change order number 9 for $31,476.28. This covers the removal of the trees that were in jeopardy of falling on the buildings. We actually had one during the windstorm a month or so ago that actually fell and took out part of our new fence that was built down there. And so that's going to be fixed as well. The fence will be fixed, but.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
We have this.
That is the change order.
Right.
Bill.
For 31, and this says total 22. What?
The other, I think the remainder of the amount is the staircases, which is.
So your question was that it's less than the change order?
Yes.
Yeah, there's 2 parts to the change order.
Oh, it
There's
is the stairs.
There's the tree removal and steps. So in the ponds, there are aerators, and the aerators have maintenance schedules, greasing the motors and
Serviceable parts.
serviceable parts, exactly, thank you. And
They don't just
also,
take a
vote. We had a vote. We've talked about that. Bill has mentioned a small yacht. And so they're on cords, you can pull them in, the aerators in. And so the idea was that, if you go down there and look, the pond liners, there's a good slope down to where the water actually starts. I mean, it's many feet down, and it's not safe for someone to have to try to stand on this rubber liner and then try to get down to the ponds. I mean, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Lately he's been tying himself off with a rope or putting on his stickiest tennis shoes, to try to get down there and wait till it's dry that way it's not
I'd
wet.
rather fall off a roof.
Yeah, God bless that man.
No, thankfully we don't. And so,
I'm gonna stick to it.
we need a way for our operator to safely get down there. On the plans, it doesn't show handrails. We clarified that there will be handrails, chains at the top and the bottom, to be compliant with regulations. And so that our operator can get down there and do what he needs to do and not drown.
So will there be a modification to the amount, adding the handrails from the proposal that
There-
we've gotten from?
There could be a small change for some handrails. We'll see.
A motion that we approve Rogland's change order number 9.
We have a motion by Mr. Ferguson to approve Robin's change order number 9. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Further discussion or description of the situation down there?
Are we getting the mulch from the grinding of those trees for the trails?
I believe they're gonna leave it on. Yeah, thanks, Bob. I believe they're gonna leave it on site and then John can use it. He can move it around with the tractor as needed. More discussion?
Yes, the cottonwood's gonna be chipped and the logs and stuff will be piled up on the site.
Right. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor of approving Rogland's change order number 9, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. End of city business. Public comment. Any members of the public have anything to comment? Any elected official comments? Hearing
Oh,
none?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna end. No, this is the time to talk.
You know, there was a fire across the street from me Sunday, I don't know, Saturday night up to Sunday morning. The guy's shed burned down. There was 3 fire trucks, ambulance.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, the previous guy had some pigeon sheds.
Or wasn't on?
Well, I got home about 2:15 in the morning. That's what time I get home for. And I couldn't get in my driveway because there were 3 Toledo fire trucks, ambulance, cops, everything. Police. And one of the previous owner had built pigeon sheds because he raised pigeons. And they had some kind of a heater in one of the pigeon sheds and caught fire and burnt down. But yeah, the problem, I believe, is those people that live there, the wife's mom lives with them for babysitting, but her boyfriend kind of lives in a property. I don't think he's in the house. He's in a shed, and he's been a problem from burning, and I've had big chunks of ash and chunks of cinder burning stuff. So my wife says she saw it glowing, but I'm not sure if it was the heater or what caused the pigeon shed to burn down. But it was quite an ordeal. I'm surprised that, did you guys know about it, right?
I don't have to visit, that would be in March, and I didn't bring the March stuff on.
Anyway,
Top of your list, the pigeon shed burned down over here?
maybe we should take a look at what's going on in that property, especially with the wife's mother's boyfriend.
Does it look like the damage stayed contained to their property?
Yeah, not much we can do probably. It was just the pigeon shed. They had 2 pigeon sheds. There was a small one burned down, but it was quite a number.
Why do you raise pigeons?
Isn't it?
The guy prior to that, his name was Jason, somebody.
I have a group of pigeons that I consider mine down at the restaurant.
He used to raise
Free range?
Yeah.
He used to raise carrier pigeons. It was a hobby of his. That was prior to the people living there now. And I think the other people used it for a dog pen and other things.
People
But
eat it.
I do know also that the husband had trouble with his guy several times. He kicked him out once. He had an ankle bracelet on for once where he had to stay on the property, I think for some kind of drug offense. So I'm just wondering how that fire started, or
It's suspicious.
whether he was involved in causing it. He still lives there,
Okay.
but I'm not sure what we can do to take into it, really. Anything?
Most of those questions would be questions for the fire department, because they actually know whether they had a fire investigator come out afterwards.
Well, the ambulance, the fire engine guy told me it was a chicken coop that burned down, but I know it was bad in the kitchen shed.
Uh,
I was gonna say that too.
Hard to tell if it was chickens or pigeons.
Well, I don't know if they locked one of the dogs up in that shed when she was in heat.
It's probably a pretty foul smell.
That's fine.
Man, shouldn't you be cooking something?
Pretty foul.
Anyway, I'm surprised
Well,
what
thank
they
you.
knew about it. It was a big fire, lots of emergency vehicles there.
Right. Well, lots of bodies probably.
I don't think
Pigeons.
anything, no, there was no pigeons in there.
Oh,
They don't raise pigeons.
oh,
It
was
was
it
the
empty?
previous people. Wait,
Okay, so it's probably an empty pigeon shed.
well,
Not.
no, there was a heater or something in there. It burned it down.
They're keeping the hay warm.
No, they were keeping one of the dogs.
Oh, they had a dog in there.
All right then. Any other elected official comments?
I'm just telling people to be aware to keep an eye on that property, sheriff, department.
This is East Street property.
Right across the street.
Across the street, okay.
It has a gate, it has a fence. You guys have been there a couple of times serving summers. And, plus they have, the dogs sometimes get out, so be careful.
The place with the Chevy roll.
Yeah, oh, no, that's the small house. The one next to it, bigger manufacturing home, big gate, still has one of the pigeon sheds up, it has a big shed, has a motor home back there.
Okay.
Well, she may be staying in.
The one that's still smoking.
It's the second house going down past 10th Street, right?
Yeah, on the right.
On the right hand side.
All right.
Not the Chevy one.
You're making noise like you want to say something.
No, there was a topic that I wanted to talk about, but then I just kind of knew where it was gonna go, so.
I don't know that.
I had seen this afternoon on social media, one of our citizens had commented about LeMay and their can not being serviced all the time. Now, something that I had noticed when they dropped all the cans off was cans on both sides of the streets. And so I'm thinking, how efficient is it for this driver to have to go down both, go down the street one way and then come down the street the other way? Because they can only load on one side of their
The
truck.
funny thing is they put
Right?
that can where they said that they
Exactly.
want that can when they come pick it up.
Exactly. So I think internally, they had some communications issues. It was a big, possibly. I don't know. But this is only one person that's complaining about it.
The
So
other
that's
thing
why
that-
I was I silenced myself.
Maybe,
The other thing that I saw is a couple cans are put in backwards. So they open up towards the
you're
house.
supposed to open up.
Yeah.
They can't
You have
pick
to have
those
it
up
facing
and they
the
can't,
street.
because they read the barcode.
Oh,
There's a barcode on the can that tells them whose it is and.
The same house that had the fire, they had to move the can across the street. So they are making an adjustment.
Yeah. So I wonder, has there been any communication with LeMay? Have they reached out to the city to?
Now, I know that there's a weekly service and there's every other week.
Bi-weekly,
service.
yeah.
So maybe they're picked up, maybe they're signed up for the wrong service and they think they're getting a weekly one.
That was a question I had asked them, and they're on a weekly.
A lot of these issues they should clear up with the company
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, if they can't resolve the issue with the company reasonably, they should probably talk to the city, so we have a little bit more leverage, and we can bring our contract to bear, but
Yeah, the way the
But if
comment
we're gonna make
was,
people, like,
was
do their
initialized
dance
on there was like
side,
directed
side.
toward this group here, because we, we signed a contract that approved this new service. So that's why I'm addressing it, is, you know, so we did our due diligence, and if they are doing their part. So.
yeah, I mean,
Figuring it
I
out.
don't want to discard anybody's complaints, but.
Right.
but
Well, I do
the-
know
The
that,
company has mechanisms to.
originally,
collect
they had
trash.
to train a new guy for the recycle. I do every other week.
Yeah.
One week I have garbage, one week I have cycle. And he was running really late, and he was having trouble initially. It took him, but now seemed to be pretty good.
Yeah, still, I think there was still some issue with some alleys and stuff like that, that they're working out the most efficient way to do trash collection, so.
Yeah.
But I know, there are always complaints.
Well, some people
You
leave
know,
their
and-
cans out and like they don't
And-
move them down to
Yeah.
their house after they, empty.
With our previous collector, we had a stack of complaints.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's a lot, and so we've received far fewer complaints just this year with the new company.
Got wheels on
Yeah,
it.
these guys are.
I mean,
If you melt it, they'll replace it. None of them do that.
The way my house sits on my property, I have to walk my garbage can. Well, I had to carry them, about 120 yards or so.
To the street.
And so I bought a wheeled can, and Jeff was like, no, it's too big. And I'm like,
I bought the same.
so I got this really nice can that I've never been able to use.
I did the same thing.
There's some people in town that Jeff actually bought the right size cans for, because they made him. Because they're like, we just bought these cans. So anyway,
Wow.
but yeah, I'm happy with the service.
I'm just curious if there was any communication.
Not really. I mean, I don't think we have
Heard it.
any new complaints from citizens that we know of, right?
Yeah.
There was,
We had an issue in the alley
Yeah.
over here. We've got some pictures and we're gonna reach out to them and see.
yeah, one of the trucks cut the corner too close on the alley, and the culvert wasn't as beefy as their normally culverts are. And there was a little bit of a crush damage on our little metal pipe, so.
I do have a question.
We have more pipe.
When they do the housing development down D Street, they're gonna put in a 40-foot road. Is there stipulations for a sidewalk at all?
So in our subdivision guidelines, it does say sidewalk, yes. So there is some
Once they-
discussion. The developer did bring that up, and they said, look, it's a sidewalk that's gonna go nowhere.
It's a sidewalk that should go
do you
to
really-
another city sidewalk on D Street between 8th and 9th that connects to the sidewalk at the school that goes down to the that goes to the other sidewalk that goes down, 7th Street. Wouldn't that be nice?
So yeah, it's in there for sidewalk.
It's just something that we can hopefully build off of.
So the developer's
It'd be
gonna.
nice to have people
Yeah,
walking
that-
down the sidewalk
Nice.
instead of down the middle of the street.
Right.
So it's 40 feet including the sidewalk?
I don't know if it was 40 feet. I don't have those numbers off the top of my head, but it was whatever our
I'm pretty
design
sure
standards
You said
are.
that you
Streets
were
are
gonna
40
maintain the
feet.
40 foot.
Right, well, if I remember correctly, for the F Street discussion, it makes sense to have a 40-foot right-of-way on F Street. We do have a lot of streets that are 40 feet. We don't have a design standard on paper for a 40-foot street, and so we would need to create one.
Aren't all the streets like 40, supposedly 40 foot?
Some of them are 80 feet.
80.
Ours is 30, F Street's 30 originally. It's 15 on each side.
I mean, eventually we're gonna have, vehicles to the point where we're gonna have to go by each other. on
Yeah,
these
yeah,
streets,
that's
so-
what I'm saying,
I
like,
mean,
so.
like by Randy's house, you got guys driving in the mud right past your house, I see, and the same thing down many of the streets. If you could see someone coming, you gotta dive to the ditch pretty
Yeah,
much.
take some turns, yeah.
Yeah, every day I'm doubled up with the
And so
vehicle on 10th Street.
I wanna know that, as going forward, if we're building more homes and they're being brought up. to-
Right, yeah, whatever the standard is, it is for, whatever is it, what is it, 14 feet lanes or something like that. I don't know, how wide are lanes? Not 14.
They're 12.
Where'd I get that number?
They're about
12.
So anyway, whatever the proper lane width is what the standard is. You can look it up, it's, the design standards are on our website if you wanted to see the lane widths were and all that.
Since Bob didn't mention it, are we doing anything on the water thing?
There's been no motion for that. I have reached out to the county. I wanted to have a meeting with the county engineer, or excuse me, county manager about that, about his thoughts. He has not replied to me. It's been a couple of weeks. But we have gotten a letter about Annandon Road.
County manager retiring.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to talk to Eric before he got out of there.
So to get the water started, do we need a motion for it, or are we just, the ball
I think we've
is,
done it before, I think.
No, there hasn't. I mean,
No.
are we really to just get that going? Are we?
I know we were waiting, we talked about it when we were doing the sewer, and we were like, well, this is really kind of not the right time because of the sewer thing, and da-da-da-da-da, but that's wrapping up.
and it would be nice to be able to start collecting on the sewers.
The water.
Even today, I was talking with the clerks about an issue that
We can't do anything about because we're.
our hands are kind of tied on somewhat. And so, okay.
So I'll make a motion that we
Well,
start the process on the water.
I'll say that.
We have a
I
motion.
second that, I second
We
that.
can't stop this train.
Yeah, no,
There's a
it-
motion by Mr. Parsons to start the process on water receivership. I heard a second from Mr. Daly on the same.
I know it's a lot of work, and I know
It's huge.
it's a big deal.
I do not disagree with you.
Did you think you were gonna have any time off? After the sewer was done?
Well, we kind of got a guy that like.
I know.
Forward, so let's.
Before you're gone, we wanna get this taken care of.
Be aware that there, if I remember correctly from when I read the receivership documents, there needs to be a committee formed, a city committee. That does not necessarily have to be all city council members.
I am concerned about the financial part of that.
There's gonna be-
And so,
Legal.
we certainly would need
Yeah.
council member participation outside of council meetings to make this happen. It can't just be one person driving it.
No problem.
It's big. Deputy Clerk Melanie Crumb's online and she just put up a chat window in front of me that said there's a good chance we'd need more city staff and or hours for them to handle that,
There's a big financial impact.
the extra
That's what I'm
bill,
saying
the
about
extra
money.
billing and whatnot.
We need to really put a plan or study on the money issue before we jump into it.
Yes, that's all in the receivership document. Yeah, if you read through, it requires us to have a formal business plan, to have trained employees ready to go on day one.
We're not even close to any of that.
I mean, it just,
Well, no, we're
It's
not
a-
close to it right now,
it's a
but we
seamless
need,
transfer, right?
we need to start.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
We need to already lose it.
Agree with
when
that
we're
part.
out of town.
I believe we have until the end of this year to make our intent known.
If the county has it working, which they do, and it's profitable for them, which it is, then
No, that
this should be, if we follow their plan, their plan, then we should it should be seamless. Shouldn't be a problem.
Right.
I know it's difficult to find employees in this small area of Lewis County, but
I've brainstormed some of those issues around the operations of the plant, and ideally I envision a relationship similar to what we have with the sheriff's department, where perhaps we outsource the operations to Lewis County, and we have a monthly fee that we pay Lewis County to operate it. But internally, we handle all the billing and all of that kind of stuff. And so, we would write a check for the operations of it, because they do a good job and they do have excellent employees. We wouldn't want to lose that.
They have all the structure in place.
The question is, would they even entertain that idea? Which is what I actually wanted to talk to Mr. Martin about. Perhaps not. The Vader water system is not the only water system that Lewis County runs in the county. There's also the North Fork water system. I think that's the one out on Alaska, I think. And so there are more than one, and the operator that runs the Vader water also does double duty with that one too. So just because there's no Vader water system doesn't mean county still doesn't mean that they don't get to have water operators. Right? And so maybe it is beneficial if they have two. Right? So, lots of questions, lots of unknowns, lots of work. So there was a first and a second.
I think we should wait before making motions, get more information.
Yeah, I mean, there would be so
Tons
much,
of discussion.
so much.
tons of discussion before anything
The
happens.
motion is just to get it started.
The motion is just to light a fire under the mayor, I think, honestly.
I thought that's what your wife was for.
It's a good job too. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Nay.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Fire lit.
Fire lit.
I think we're gonna adjourn this meeting before anyone else discusses anything. Motion, meeting adjourned at 6:46 PM. Have a good night.